this is something that I haven't actually made a video on. So this month's Zodiac tournament, and actually probably the next couple of months going forward, is going to be TCG OCG format. Now, what that is it is TCG ban list, but we allow the unified card pool. Now, one thing I look at with this format is the impact of these decks on the format, and where you get to see the power scaling of the broken OCG cards and the broken TCG cards, and what the results are. So this video is going to be dedicated to explaining those results and things looking forward and general discussion on things I've seen. So let's dig on into this, shall we? Alright, so the first thing I want to say about this is Orcust is still as good as it is. Now, everything in this is limited from a pool of 128 players. Now, so you have to understand, once again, that this might be what I've seen, but everything that I have seen so far from this is still telling me that if Orcust remains unchecked, and remember, this card pool is pulling all the way up through Linked Brains Pack 3, Shaddoll's Structure Deck. All of this is legal for this. And under the current TCG ban list, Orcust is still the best deck. The consistency, the engine, what Galtea gives to this deck, crescendo, it is insane. With Engage being at 3 and Rose even being at 1, Engage is still better in Orcust. Like, the TCG found a much easier build to abuse this in. So, under this format, I've seen the most out of Sky Striker Orcust in terms of generalized representation through top cut and consistency. And I also seen Blair Hunter playing the Cyber Dragon Orcust variant. It's interesting, to say the least, especially when you have more wide open in the format. But, man, oh man, it's kind of interesting. Now, we also had Striker in this tournament. Now, Striker gets Rose. They got their Link Monster. They got general... They have everything. And you've also got Engage at 3, Widowmaker at 1. You've got multi-roll. You've got everything at the best numbers that you could have. And Striker is still getting pummeled into the ground by Orcust. Once again, the power that Orcust is generating this format. I know it's like make-believe, but like this is like a massive call to arms. Like, if Striker has its whole card pool, Rose allows for more extenders. And if we were to continue going forward under current list, there's nothing in the near future that checks Orcust. Nothing. Nothing at all. Now, back on the topic of Striker here, though. Rose adds a lot. She adds a new dynamic to the deck. She allows for, that extra dynamic, having that additional Sky Striker name with the current card pool is absolutely spectacular. I love it. It's cool, but the deck, it's just having consistency issues. Because the other deck that I'm seeing in high representation in this format is checking it very well. And because that other deck exists right now, Striker shouldn't be having issues with the way it is. The other deck that is seeing massive play in terms of representation is Grand Manju. Grand Manju, so when I look at a tournament like this, the first thing I want to analyze is I want to understand the card pool. Well, one, players obviously don't want to adapt, and really, people will test out new ideas, but not everybody wants to test out new ideas. So, players are going to look to the super most easiest deck to play. And I think that's what the Grand Manju effect is for this tournament, because Grand Manju, if you're playing against somebody that's not really educated on the format, you're playing a more casual player that's just playing in this tournament, seeing a set face down after your opponent banish everything might not click with you. It should click with you, alright? If you're just attacking into a face down Grand Manju, you probably deserve to lose the game. But I noticed in a lot of the games I was watching, the earlier round Sky Strikers were getting beat up. They were actually getting bullied by Grand Manju. The Danger Engine just gives the deck too much advantage. And it's actually kind of scary. Because in this format, Grand Manju looks a lot better than it actually is. Now, once again, a good Orcust player will destroy this deck. Or the Grand Manju will destroy it. It really just depends on, one, consistency. How well did you open? Literally, how well did you open is the whole answer to this question. And it's mind-boggling, actually, that the particulars of that question are being answered. Just, did Orcust open up did the crescendo go through, or did the normal summon beat stick connect for lethal? That's literally how you have to look at that format. It's scary, actually. So, Super Grand Manju doing its thing. Now, that's just the TCG stuff. So, Lund is currently undefeated going into round 7 here, playing Spiral. Now, I've got a Spiral deck profile. I will release it to the general public. I actually tested a couple variants in the tournament, so we'll probably talk about both of those. But a lot of people have been asking me, Robbie, what is your general consensus on Spiral going forward? And even under current TCG ban list with Magician Souls, the deck is actually crazy. So you get Where Art Thou to search it. You have 1 for 1. If 1 for 1 ever moves to 2, well, surprise. And literally, Magician Souls being... Okay, so Magician Souls dropping off the Master Plan into the graveyard, reviving it from the graveyard with a plan, with a rescue, is so absurd. Like, literally every board you're like ending on Appaloosa Trigate with Sleepy Boy equipped with Last Resort. 95% of your field can't beat that, alright? Especially if you go first against Orcust. What is Orcust going to do against you? Nothing, alright? Like, when I look at Spiral, I'm like, alright, cool. So you're like the one deck that could just bully the format. But once again, this is a going first oriented format. Like, if Orcust goes first and sets up their best board, Spiral's not going to be able to play around the Crescendo unless they open up Cosmic to bait it, and then you just build your best board and win the game. No, decks can't beat Trigate and but problem with Spiral is Rocky Boy can ruin your day, and that's very true. A format like this, is unrefined as it is, Rock is probably one of the best counters to it, because you see these giant, massive combo decks really coming out of nowhere and just exploding on things. So, at least for this scaling, Spiral will be a very good deck, no doubt in my mind. Now, I also have seen, there was a duelist playing World Chalice, and this one caught me off guard. So I was watching World Chalice do World Chalice things, and World Chalice, it's a fantastic combo deck. It does what it wants to do very well. And the more cards it gets in its card pool, access to the World Legacy monster, more things like that, the deck only gets better. Alright, your consistency issues, they're going through the rough. Alright, but watching this deck play, it is a very, very underrated combo deck. No doubt in my mind about that. Once again, only pulling from one size, though, this might be an abnormality, but the deck made it up through the X1 bracket and was doing very good. Actually, I'm happy to see it doing so well. Kudos to the World Chalice player for that. We've also got Salamangreat. They're great. Salamangreat had no problem with this format at all. Under current restriction list, the way that Salad dropped into this format, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Salad literally... So it's funny, because Striker gets, like, rows and things like that, but it doesn't matter because Salad still plows through the deck. Salad still has an alright Orcust matchup. Once again, it's not great. It's really just kind of there. So yeah, for those of you worried, like, in the future, if Salad keeps its current card pool, if it's going to really be impacted by any future endeavors, no, I think Salad in its current iteration going forward is a very safe investment, unless something else gets hit in the deck. If something else gets hit, you might see some problems going forward. We'll have to wait and see, really, on that one. And the last thing I want to talk about here is back on that point about Nibiru. I watched a Six Samurai player get 2-0'd straight doodle dong deed. He got the biggest D that he's ever been destroyed in his life. And it was absurd, honestly. The guy's like, yeah, I play 2 of this. He goes, rock. Six Samurai player's like, all right, I'm going to FTK you now. And then he gets rocked. And he's just like, are you kidding me? Like, at the end of game 1, you could see the soul. He's like, all right, my guy, you drew the rock. All right, cool. Game 2 goes along. The guy's like, oh boy, here we go. Good luck, have fun. Six Samurai player goes. Ends on a really subpar board because he just had a feeling his opponent opened up on rock. And then he just gets beat down because he didn't go for the best board. But, like, his opponent had rock. What are you going to do? Like, that card is insane. And even as we go forward into more combo-based formats, it's going to show through. Once again, this whole video is just a science size from one little tournament I'm running. And it's interesting to see these results so I can discuss them. I'm like a little teacher in my little science experiments. So, what do you guys think? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And, well, guys, peace. The ride never truly ends. Thank you, patrons, for helping support the channel. Without you guys, I don't know if I'd still be doing this. And for those of you that like Cardfight Vanguard, FanCool40 is here for all your content needs. And those of you asking if I sell cards, mcoolgames.com for all your trading card game needs. Check the description for more interesting info. Thanks for watching, guys.